What if the problem has never been the world or anything in it, but only the meaning that you have given it? What if your entire world is just your own thoughts reflected back to you? And what if the only thing that stands between you and true vision is the willingness to admit, I do not understand? Today, we step back from contemplating new ideas and look at the unified thought system that is emerging as we review the first 5 lessons of the course. These 5 lessons reveal a profound truth. Nothing is upsetting you except your own mind. If we look at the structure of the first 5 lessons, we'll see that nothing you see means anything in reality because you have given everything you see all of the meaning that it has for you. And because you have given everything its meaning in your own private, subjective world, you do not truly understand anything you see. And your thoughts about what you see, they don't mean anything either. Because as you can now tell, they are only a reflection of your own subjective judgments. These judgments have seeming reality, but only within your own private and subjective viewpoint. And this is the reason why you are never upset for the reason you think, since your thoughts about your upset don't reflect truth or reality, but only your own justifications for your upset. All of this is not an attack on our intelligence. It's an invitation into humility. Humility so profound that it actually becomes freedom. That sense of identity that we carry within our own thoughts, that identity is holding on to a particular version of reality out of a certain sense of pride, of not wanting to be wrong, of seeking to be right. And this is where humility becomes the antidote. Because if your perception is not real with a capital R, then it can be released. You can be entirely free of it because it is optional. And if your upset is misdirected, well, then that puts peace into much closer reach than you might have imagined. The world is not the cause of our experience. Our thoughts are the cause. So I want to go deeper here with you into the core insight of this review lesson. You are not reacting to reality. You are reacting to the meaning that you gave it. This is the core. Lessons 1 to 5, they form a single psychological and spiritual reversal. They dismantle this false chain of causation. From the ego's point of view, the chain looks like this. The world gives rise to meaning, and meaning, which is factual and based on what is actually happening in the world, gives rise to emotion. And thus your emotion is always valid and justified. Whether that be anger or hatred or fear, it is based on reality. This is the chain of causation that this series of lessons dismantles. It replaces it with what is actually happening, which is that thoughts give rise to meaning, Meaning gives rise to a particular world that you perceive, and that world gives rise to a specific set of emotions. So the causation goes from within to the without, from thought to meaning to world to emotion. There's another way to look at these first 5 lessons as a 5-step undoing sequence. Try to consider this from the point of view of deconstructing some frustration that you might have. So just follow along with the structure first, and then we're going to apply it together. Step 1, the world has no built-in meaning. And that's lesson 1, nothing that I see means anything. In other words, nothing you see has inherent significance. You're not seeing the truth, you're seeing interpretation. Step 2, you supply the meaning. And that's where in lesson 2 it says, I've given what I see all the meaning that it has for me. Whatever you're looking at feels meaningful only because you assigned meaning to it. In other words, the meaning is not in the object, it is in the mind. Step 3, your interpretation is misguided. And that's when in lesson 3 it says, I do not understand anything I see. If you gave it meaning based on false thinking, then by definition you cannot understand what you see. And this is a very important step because it breaks the illusion of certainty. Step 4, the thoughts behind it are meaningless. This is where in lesson 4 it says, these thoughts do not mean anything. And this is where the course goes deeper. Not only is the world meaningless, the thoughts creating it are also meaningless. They're meaningless because they're based on a false sense of identity. You're thinking on behalf of a dream character self, which you are not. And this reveals how the entire structure is unstable. And then step 5, your upset is based on illusion. That's where in lesson 5 it says, I'm never upset for the reason I think. So if the world has no meaning, you gave it meaning. You don't understand its original meaning or purpose, and your thoughts about it are meaningless because they come from a separate sense of self. Then, just by mere rationale, you cannot be upset for the reason that your mind thinks that you're upset. Your emotional reactions, in other words, are built on false premises. So the one core premise that underlies all of these 5 lessons is this: my suffering comes from the meaning I give to things and not from things themselves. You can substitute the word things for anything. My suffering comes from the meaning that I give to my relationship and not from the relationship itself. It comes from the meaning I give to the things I hear on the news and not from the things that are in the world. So these first 5 lessons quietly dismantle the ego's core belief, which is the world is happening to me. This is the foundation of the victim consciousness. It's happening to me. And these lessons replace that misguided premise with a liberating recognition that my perception, in other words, the meaning that I give to things, is shaping what I experience. So this is the first step towards true vision, because once you see that meaning comes from the mind, then the mind becomes the place of healing. So now let's take this deeper. I want to invite you into a conscious breath and letting your body relax as you let yourself become fully present, just here and now. And this time, let's apply the central premise of these 5 ideas directly. For this, I want you to think of a recent upset that you encountered in your experience. It can be anything from a sense of frustration to just noticing an absence of peace. So hold that in mind and begin to contemplate with me through this sequence. As you behold this situation in mind, start here. This situation has no meaning on its own. Take a moment and feel that. I gave this situation all the meaning that it has. And feel that. I may not understand this situation at all. And let yourself feel that. My thoughts about this situation may be meaningless. And allow yourself to feel that. And so, I might not be upset for the reason that I think at all. And in this pause, over these next few moments, just notice what happens when certainty loosens. And now, let's begin to unfold our contemplation into dialogue. And the very first question that I want to bring to us is this: if nothing I see means anything, then what is it exactly that I have built my identity on?
A story. Just a story we told ourselves for so long we forgot it wasn't true.
So if this is really that perception has been only a story, then what has the me in the story been defending this whole time?
The punchline. The me in the story has been protecting the punchline it convinced itself was truth.
Say more about that. What do you mean punchline?
The final justification for why it was all worthwhile. The reasoning that confirms its specialness, pain, importance, why all the suffering makes sense. Without the punchline, there's no reason for the story to keep going.
So what does the punchline look like for us individually?
It's different for everyone, but usually something like, see, I'm the victim here, or I'm doing something meaningful, or they finally understand how I've been hurt. Something that feels like final validation in a world where we see so much apparent injustice.
So like just a validation of our story, like, okay, yeah, now it all makes sense.
Exactly. The moment of having your narrative confirmed feels final. That's where we stop questioning and settle back into the meanness that benefits from maintaining the story.
Yeah, I can see that just even in microdynamics, right? Not only in the grand finale, so to speak, of it all, but I think that that's essentially what we're looking for in all of our relationships and interactions.
Constantly. Every conversation is just another chance to check if someone gets it, if they confirm our story about ourselves or the world. It's exhausting when you really notice it.
Yeah. Wow. That's profound. Okay, well, let's look at it this way also. If I have given everything all the meaning that it has for me, then what would actually remain if I stopped giving meaning like this, narrating reality?
Just the sensation itself, without the label, story, or emotion attached to it. Like, if you're feeling warmth on your skin, just the warmth. Not, oh, this is nice, or finally some relief, or I deserve this. Just the feeling.
So just the feeling is not typically what we experience, right? This is what a lot of, let's say, meditation or mindfulness or even non-duality tries to bring us to, is like, feel your feet on the ground. Notice the sensation of sitting. Notice your breath, right?
Yeah, the actual experience before we start crafting the story around it.
So is it true that we've never really seen anything at all, as this series of lessons is implying?
That sounds intense when you put it that way. I think it means we've never really seen what's there. We've only seen our version of it, filtered through what we believe.
So what's that contrast between what's there and the version that's filtered through what we believe?
What's there? I think it's just is. No judgment, no story, no meaning, no us in it. The filtered version is that plus all the noise we add on top of it.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's zoom out on these 5 lessons. And what's the overall pattern that you're seeing in this?
The pattern is like peeling layers. Each lesson chipping away at the foundation that tells us we're separate and needing protecting. And the really wild part is that it gets simpler, not harder.
Say more about that.
Like each lesson reveals there's less to defend or manage than you thought. Each step reveals the sense of me doesn't actually need to protect or know. It just is. And in the absence of all the defending, something else takes over. A deeper sense of peace that wasn't constructed.
So when we are looking at our experience through this lens, is it true to say that we're in essence just constantly trying to justify our thoughts, and these lessons are just pointing out a different way to engage with reality?
Yeah, it feels like the lessons are holding up this alternate way of seeing where thoughts are just happening. Not a crisis, not something to manage, just data. And once you see that your thoughts aren't actually controlling you, that's when the story starts to lose its grip.
How come it is that in this thought world, in this private world, it seems like we made the world into our enemy, and we seem to really be kind of bent on defending that perspective that the world is dangerous, or that relationship is unfair, or this experience in my life, it should have gone a different way? What is it in us that is driving that relentless need?
That need. I think it's because the thought of surrendering that unfair or dangerous story is terrifying. That story's our identity, and without it, what's left feels like nothing. The ego would rather suffer in a defined identity than risk dissolving into the unknown.
Even though these thoughts and these perceptions and these ways of holding the world have very clearly hurt us, we still cling to them.
Yeah, exactly. Like banging your head against a wall because it feels better than nothing. It's baffling in retrospect, but the pattern makes some sense. There's comfort in the familiar suffering.
It just seems absurd that we are, metaphorically speaking, banging our head against the wall, as in constantly defining reality as something threatening, something that is justifying our anger and our upset. Why do we still cling to it?
I think it's that the ego needs a story to function. And the story of being wronged feels stronger and more significant than nothing at all. It gets mistaken for strength, like being angry gives you power, when really it's just a really exhausting performance.
But vision is already available, isn't it? Like, this is what these lessons have been leading us to. And yet, our certainty that we are right in our interpretation of how we see things is what's blocking it. Is that right?
Yeah, what if it's not truth at all? It's just what we choose to believe.
What about that idol of certainty? Like that sense that we're just gonna worship this conviction that we have inside at all costs, seemingly.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate fortress we build. Then realize the walls are all inside your own mind.
Yeah. So, what I would love to hear from you is, as we zoom out again on these 5 lessons, what is the core blind spot that we are operating with that's perhaps preventing us from fully embracing and beginning to adopt this thought system, the one that the Course is leading us into?
Idea that peace or trust have to be earned. That lesson 1 through 5 are really chipping away at the idea that we need to work to get to God or find proof that we deserve love. The biggest blind spot is we think the gift is conditional, that we must change before love can accept us.
I think that last part is really profound. The conditionality, the earning of it, the, some kind of achievement is what is going to bring us to God or to peace.
Exactly. The idea that we have to make ourselves worthy, when all the lessons are pointing toward God's already present love as the given. It's a subtle shift, but it's huge. Because the moment you stop thinking you need to become acceptable, the weight just melts away.
Beautiful. Yeah, wonderful discussion. And as we bring this conversation to a close, I want to invite you to just reflect on these 5 lessons and the opportunity that they're bringing you to really dismantle the seemingly impenetrable wall of being right at the level of perception and meaning, and take that narrow path that leads beyond the entrapment of believing in our own thoughts. If through this contemplation you had a realization or an insight that you'd like to share, I invite you to do so in the comments below. And if there's someone that you think would benefit from having a new way to look at their own thinking, their own inner reasoning and perceptions, share it with them. And now, let us go into the silence.